Hello and welcome to episode 111 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews, the podcast where we take a random movie from Metacritic's all-time movie list. This is Colin.
This is Niall.
This is Random Movie 2690. It's Twilight of the Warriors, Kowloon Walled In from 2024. Runs for 126 minutes. Had a budget of 300 million Hong Kong dollars, which is about 36 million US dollars. And it brought in 111, strangely enough, million US dollars. And this is episode 111. Weird. Meta score of 77 and a user score of 6.9. I don't really watch a lot of Hong Kong movies, and this is obviously not from the classic era, but from last year. What did you make of
Not what I expected. Not
this?
what I would have expected from a Hong Kong movie, but the ones I used to watch with, Bruce Lee and the lads. This is nothing like that. It's got some of the wire work thrown in there, but this is a bit more computer gamey, if you will.
Yeah, like Sleeping Dogs or something. But
very much like that. Yeah,
I enjoyed when the fight scenes were happening. I enjoyed it. But it was one of those movies where I didn't really care too much for the storyline because it was really not really. It was incidental. Then you were coming up to fights every whatever. There was quite a long segment where there was no fights, and I was going, "Can I have some fights, please?"
Yeah,
I was promised fights.
Stories of filler in this. A whole lot of fighting.
I enjoyed the fighting scenes.
I did as well. But I'd like to compare it to a movie called Raid and Raid 2. I don't know if you've seen either of those guys.
No, I know of them though.
First one's fantastic. The acting, not the acting, the choreography is absolutely unbelievably good.
Isn't it Indonesian or something, or Malaysian?
It is, yeah. Malaysian, I think.
Malaysian, yeah.
It's all set in one building. It's kind of claustrophobic, and there's a bit of parkour going on, and a bit like this. Only a lot more realistic, a lot grittier, a lot dirtier, a lot more violent. This felt a bit too comic booky at times. But I have no real issue with the action. Action's quite enjoyable.
Yeah, it's entertaining. You turn off your, I was just thinking during it's, I don't know if people realize this, but it's hard to write notes while you're watching a movie because it takes you out of the movie, but especially when it's a subtitle movie because you're just missing dialogue all the time, and you're.
Yeah,
I never paused the movie because I just couldn't be bothered. So I'm like one eye up, one eye down, putting notes on my phone.
The difficulty there as well is like, well, what notes do you take? And then he punched him, and then he hit him over the head with a bar, and then the bar didn't break, and then he was on the ground, and then he jumped up, stab.
There was a lot of bar over the head.
There was a lot of bar over the head, and it didn't seem to impact quite a lot of people all that much.
No. It's for the last 20 or so minutes. It's a one big action scene, and I just put my phone down and enjoyed the action and turned my brain off a little bit and just said, listen, I'll be able to talk about it because it's just chock full of just people hitting each other a lot and not dying a lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of physical abuse the guy got at the end, and he's just sitting me chuckling about it.
Yeah. Well, the movie's set in Kowloon Walled City, and I'm guessing it's based on a novel I think called City of Darkness, and I'm guessing it's sort of like a romantic nod to Kowloon Walled City. I think a lot of Hong Kong people have a lot of old sentimental feelings about the 80s and what Hong Kong used to be and what it was like under the UK government. And then it's mentioned in this that they were handing it over back to the Chinese government in 86, I believe it was. Can't remember, but I lived in Hong Kong for 3 years, so for somebody that's lived there, I haven't watched any Hong Kong movies really, and it's good to go back and it's good to see. But obviously, it's set in the 80s, so we don't really have a lot of the neon signs don't change, haven't changed, the taxis haven't changed, and it's just the sort of back alleyway eateries haven't changed either. But
you were in the walled city, thankfully.
I was no, I was demolished, I think, in 83, maybe. I can't remember.
93 is
93.
Wow. Yes, 93.
And obviously, as well as that, there's also a lot of sentimentality towards old Kai Tak Airport, where very famous Kai Tak Airport. Yeah, so like I actually, when I was in Hong Kong, I did a flight simulator session with one of these flight simulator things, and I well, I tried to fly into that old Kai Tak
You
airport.
just
It was
crashed into a bunch of buildings, didn't you?
well, it was crazy. It was like one of the most hardcore airports to land in as a pilot.
Oh
So
yeah, the
you go,
handbrake it basically at the end.
pretty much like you go in and then you take it 90 degrees. Like if you're flying at 12 o'clock, there's this red and white checker sign on a mountain, and I actually played football right underneath that. It was quite cool to be there. And once you saw that, you take your bank
Yeah.
right, and then you're flying like whatever 100 meters above rooftops, and there's lots of great videos and photos on the internet from landing in Kai Tak. But now they have their new airport, which is obviously
Yeah,
a lot better,
it's
much
substantially
safer.
sensible compared to
Yes.
handbraking it inside a massive bloody city.
Yeah, yeah. So this is obviously So it's based inside Kowloon Walled City. We have I couldn't really actually. I didn't even know the name of the protagonist until maybe an hour into it.
They never mention his name for ages.
No, right, yeah. So we have this guy Locke, who's our protagonist, who's a refugee, and he comes into the Kowloon Walled City, and we do also have this sort of. Actually, I must mention that there's so many production studios name at the start. It was like never-ending names of production studios and logos coming up. It's like, when's this movie starting? It's ridiculous. We have this sort of confusing fight that we have Cyclone and Jim and Lou, and we don't really get that clear until the second half of the movie.
It was unnecessary, I think. This exposition at the start doesn't fit.
Yeah, don't bother. Don't bother with it.
I wouldn't bother. Yeah, feed drip us a little bit of information about those main characters later on, absolutely. But we don't need the lore up front.
No,
build it into the story.
Yeah, there was subtitles telling us, what this whole lore of the background. And it's like they didn't really clarify anything. It didn't expose anything for me. You just start off with Locke.
A bit of difference.
Yeah. So we have Locke, who's introduced, and he's basically just he has a bit of it's kind of like a Fight Club disco scene at the start, which is sort of a premonition of what you're going to get through the entire movie. It's a lot of choreographed, but actually not a lot of annoyance choreography that I hate in scenes where there's 10 people against one person and then they just wait in turn to swing their knives. It was quite fast paced, and it didn't feel like, okay, I'll wait until he's finished to finish his. It was shot well. It was shot very fast.
It was two people fighting. It would have been very hard for them to take turns.
Yeah, but I'm just saying in the entirety of the movie, we have a lot of crazy, full-on, like lots of people fighting at the same time. And it doesn't feel choreographed. It's quite well done, I believe, in my opinion. So Locke, he
wins his fight. He beats the crap out of the guy. Lots of glass everywhere. Glass in my fist. Glass in your guy's face.
Lots of glass. Yeah, it's pretty hardcore glass utilization. But he wants his Hong Kong ID basically, and so Mr. Big, as we're led to believe that's what he is later on, his name. By the way, I must apologize to you and anybody that's listening. There's a fairground across the way, and there's just constant noise and sirens and people screaming. It's not a basement full of people I have.
Yes, that's tortured. The story you're going with.
Yes. So yeah. Instead of taking money, he said, all right, we'll get you a new Hong Kong ID card. So
come back in 2 weeks.
2 weeks. And he does, and it's like a photocopied piece of shit ID.
Yeah.
So he's like,
at least it's laminated though, in fairness.
It's laminated, but laminated in a bad way where it's just like wonky and written in pencil.
You paid your money, here's your ID.
Yeah.
Goodbye now.
Tell him to sling a zook basically, and he just legs it and grabs a bag with thinking it's money, but it's not.
It ain't monies.
It's a bit of crack, cocaine.
It's a bit of crack.
Speed. Yeah. So he heads into the walled city, and this is Cyclone's turf. He's got a big bag of drugs, and he has a.
He's in the bad way.
A lot of people chase him and fight him, and guy on a bike chases him and fights him, and there's a lot of fights.
And then he pulls a knife on Cyclone and holds him hostage, and Cyclone just kind of chuckles.
Because we don't know it's Cyclone. We think it's just some barber. And it's obviously a 30-year-old, some guy with painted white hair as well. The entire movie, just I was like, this is a young
You're
person.
not in your 60s at all, dude.
He's painted. His hair is just painted white. It's a bit silly
It is.
because Mr. Big is an old guy, so they could obviously they could find talent in Hong Kong to actually find old people to play these roles. But this guy was just a
They
young
wanted
guy
somebody
with
who could
painted white hair.
move very well as well. So Mr. Big, you notice a lot of his action scenes are from behind. So it's some lad in the fat suit, whereas Cyclone is acted by a 30-year-old man jumping around the place.
Yeah, true. So yeah, he's yeah, so he like Mr. Cyclone just beats the shit out of him and just leaves him and says, "Get out of here, mother
Dislocates his
idiot."
shoulder, throws him out the window.
Throws him out the window. There's a lot of people have been thrown out windows in this, and like because the walled city was just layers and layers of corrugated roofs, you just fall out a window and you land on a corrugated piece of roof, and
Yeah,
like
go-
he basically
Going out a window doesn't kill you in this place.
no, you just fall like 10 centimeters. We do see a little girl giving him some. He's fucked up. He's lying on a roof and gets given a little bit of bread and pop by Fishball, as he likes to call her later on.
Yeah, it's an unusual name that she has.
Yeah, it's
Hello,
because
Fishball.
it's because she's making fish balls later on. Because basically, he doesn't get anywhere. He goes back and has a talk to Cyclone. Basically, he's just like, "Can I
work for you? I don't want to
Give
do
me the
trap
drugs."
stuff. Yeah, give me drugs. And he brings it back to Mr. Big and says, "Oi,
Yeah,
not your problem anymore."
but Mr. Big's like going, "No, I still want to kill that motherfucker."
Yeah, but he knows he can't really take on Cyclone, so he's
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, he's so Locke basically just there's like a montage of him, and I believe this is when he's looking for lots of jobs. He's working lots of jobs. The montage is when this walking in the air instrumental comes along.
It's such a weird piece of music. Yeah,
It's like, what the hell is that song?
80s guitar
Yes.
walking through the air.
Is it walking through the air or walking in the air? Walking in the air.
Christopher Walken's over there.
I thought it was just. I felt so out of place. It's a kung fu Hong Kong movie. It brought me back to Christmas any Christmas, any year.
Yeah, I don't know how it made me feel.
Yeah,
It was so weird. It didn't upset me. It just made me like confused.
Yeah.
What's going on? Because in fairness, the montage of him working's fine. You know, it works.
Yeah. He's putting a big stint in working, carrying gas cylinders everywhere.
Cyclone's watching, going, "Oh yeah."
Yeah, making fish balls with fish balls. Yeah, but then this is the first time we do see an airplane going overhead, which I think is a great cinematic
Great shot. Yeah.
motif to use. The one near the end is very, very badly done CGI, but we'll talk about that later on at the end. Yeah, so we get a bit of a montage here of how hardworking Locke is and how he just wants to find a place to be part of and to be, to find a home, basically. Just like the littlest hobo.
While this is happening, though, he bumps into a few young lads of his age. So he meets AV, who stitches them back together and pulls his shoulder back on.
True, yes.
Shin, the lad with the motorbike, is one of his buddies as well. So this becomes important. And then the 12th something?
12th Master, I don't know what the other
12th
guys...
Master.
He worked for Boss Tiger, I think, or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they all kind of
become friends.
Fast friends, and they play Mo. I can never pronounce this.
Mahjong.
Yeah.
And also, Cyclone gives him the attic room, so he's found his little home away from.
I'll be honest. I kind of like the setup they have there. The relationship he has with Cyclone is kind of. It's not over the top. It kind of feel kind of real. Nice.
No, it's fine. It's a little bit. He's happy. We have enough sort of meat in the plot that we can see him getting in friendly with the lads, and yeah, it's fine.
It's fine. As stories goes, that's as deep as this gets.
Yeah, but also I think the next part where they beat up the woman abuser, brings them together as well. Like he goes and buys some candy, some sweets from a stall. I'm like, oh, he's going to give it to Fishballs.
No, no,
It's
he's gonna
quite
use it as a mask. I've written
too.
that there. Was it Smarties Batman? I wrote down here.
Yeah, Smarty's Batman. Yeah, pretty much. Yeah, it's quite a funny moment because he buys it and then we just see him walk into the
Oh.
scene with two circular
Then he spots
can.
three lads hanging around wearing masks, and he's like, "Wait a second."
Yeah, they've got 80s. Like those are the masks that were made in Hong Kong and shipped over to Ireland in the 80s for
Oh yeah,
sure.
I'm pretty sure I wore some of those.
Absolutely. His glasses fall off, and so they just chuck a Santa Claus hat on him or a mask on him, which is probably one of the. There's not a lot of funny moments in this movie, and that's probably the funniest moment, I guess, where they're just beating the hell out of this guy wearing these cheap ass masks.
Yeah, it's some comedy violence.
Comedy violence. What more can
So
you ask for?
yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
don't
he,
hate that scene at all. I kind of like it.
no, pretty decent scene. So yeah, he gets in with the lads then, and I don't really know. There's a motif about flying a kite.
Yeah, I
Did you
think it's
read
supposed to
anything
be
much into it?
some symmetry between the plane
Cyclone.
going over and Cyclone, and
Yeah.
they're trying to
Life.
build something in there.
Yeah, because at the end of the movie, there's a lot of wind shit happening that's sort of we don't know. We're not smart enough to understand. Well, is this about Cyclone coming back? Is his spirit alive in Kowloon Walled City, or is it a metaphor for well, the kite is finally dying, and so will the Kowloon Walled City
That's
finally die?
one complaint I'm going to have about this is the concept of spirit powers being
Well,
introduced near the end.
yes,
It annoys me. It's not necessary. It's awesome without that crap. Just don't make the guy superhuman powered, and it'll be
yeah,
great.
it's part of the culture. It's part of that sort of spiritual things that obviously we don't have that in Ireland, where spiritualness
Yeah,
powers
the
is
problem from
thing.
my perspective, because I have no understanding of the culture here, is that I have no background into that, so I don't understand where it's
It's out
coming
of
from.
place. It's out of
I have no
place.
context, and without context, it's just some lad who's knife proof.
Yeah, so he's big Mr. Big's second in command, and I just call him Laughing Boy because I don't know his name. He just laughs all the
Yeah, I
time.
don't think his name is. Oh, he's Mr. King, Boss King.
Oh, he's Mr. King. Got it. Right. Yeah, but yeah, it basically as they continue to fight him throughout the movie, they just can't injure him, and it's like he's got the spirit inside him. And it's
What
like
spirit?
spirit in the sky
Going
going
on
on
up.
up. Yeah,
He eventually does.
he does. Yeah, so yeah, we'll get to that in a second. But anyway, yeah, we have this little exposition of the TV saying, "Oh, the UK handover's happening, and the future of all the city is going to be bleak. They probably just demolish it." We have a background little side thing where AV says the cyclone is lung tumor. Uh, then Cyclone goes to Mr. Chow, who we find out is this bigger in command. He pays rent to
He's the
Mr. Chow.
landlord.
And so this is part where I got confused, and he was something about the bastard son is still alive. The person
Jim.
Jim, which is a weird sort of
And
Hong Kong
it
name.
is Jim. It's pronounced
It's
Jim.
Jim.
It's
It's Jim.
weird.
Yeah. Well, in Hong Kong, you choose an English name
Ah,
legally. Like, obviously, if you're not into that sort of thing, I think that was during British times. If you're
not so
not
much
in it,
anymore.
yeah. But people would choose like the most random. I think when I was living in Hong Kong, there was like a blog dedicated to just pinpointing the stupid names that people would choose, like English name they would choose for themselves. But yeah, that's why maybe it's Jim. That's
Okay.
just
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
they might be like Jim Davidson, maybe Jim Morrison,
Jim Bowen.
Jim Bowen. Get out of the black and in the red.
In this game from doing a bit.
Yeah. So yeah, I didn't like. I was confused in this one. Okay, who killed his son and wife? I just didn't
Jim.
understand. It was Jim. Yes,
Jim and the
I got that
lads.
later on
Yeah.
because he says a story here, but then later on we get more clarity on the story. So the whole exposition of that storyline.
Yeah, the first 5 minutes is kind of pointless because it doesn't actually give us anything other than say Cyclone and the lads had a bit of a fight.
Yeah.
Then it explains what the bloody fight was. So they could have done away with the 5 minutes to start. I would have been happier because I was
Well, give me
confused for the first 5 minutes. Going, what's going
yeah.
on?
Well, I was confused here. Give me more exposition because I haven't got a clue what you're talking about. But anyway, Locke, obviously, we get another scene where with Locke and Cyclone says, I don't want to leave this city ever. I'm scared that Kowloon won't exist anymore. And then he shaves him for some reason.
Yeah, so this is the tie back to Jim.
Well, there's another, it flashes back
Because
later on.
he sees a similar bone structure
Yeah.
between his dad, who he then realizes that, oh crap, you're Jim's son, and my buddy Chow really wants you dead.
Right. Yeah, so Jim killed Chow's wife and kid.
Pretty grim,
That's
actually.
all we get. Yeah,
Jim was an a-hole.
Oh yeah, Jim was an asshole, yeah. So then we get introduced to another boss, Boss Tiger, and we get, okay, Jim's son has been found, so we don't know yet. That's kind of Locke, but we're getting there.
We kind of do, because we see...
I didn't get that, actually. Now that
Cyclone's face, he's looking at me, he looks at his face, and there's a flashback to Jim, and he's like, oh, crap.
Yeah, they're going. They have like a restaurant scene where he's just constantly staring at Locke, and it's like, okay, yeah. But then we get another backstory exposition where Cyclone and Jim are fighting. We get these sort of what happened inside the building, and we get that Jim says to Cyclone, "Hey, look after my wife and kid if I die," and Cyclone says, "Be the barber," which is weird.
Yeah.
So
Cyclone wins that fight, obviously.
Locke is Jim's son.
Yes. Dun dun dun. Feck all to do with the story, if we're honest.
Yeah. Mr. Big. And then we get little scenes. It's a 2-hour, 6-minute movie. Could be shortened down because we got Mr. Big. He's in with a government dude talking about the walled city, but you could really just get rid of that and have him talking to Mr. Chow going, yeah, which he does anyway.
Yeah, that's not necessary. I'd cut this movie in half.
Yeah, just like a lot of the sword fights play.
Yeah. This is good stuff in this. It's good action. Stories
inconsequential.
Super relevant. Have some form of story. Have some sort of motivation for the lads. But
yeah.
Don't bother with a lot of the exposition. It's weak when it is there.
Yeah. So Mr. Big tells Chow about Locke and who he is and says, hey, Cyclone, your brother, he's had you for a laugh. He's having you for a laugh. He's having a giggle.
Yeah. He gets a bit angry, doesn't he?
Yeah, so we're getting back. So back in Kowloon, we Cyclone's dudes, Shin and Avi, are going to Locke. We've got you a boat, let's roll.
Yeah, here's your clothes, you have to go. He's got a hangover as well, I think, at this point.
Oh yeah, the day after the restaurant.
The night before.
But they all pop in then. It's Mr. Big's crew pop in and they all fight Locke. And Mr. Chow's there too. So they all it's a big massive fight. I didn't take a lot of notes. I think the fight, this is like the first time we've had a fight since the start of the movie-ish, really.
Yeah,
the first time we've had a big fight.
Big ass long fight though.
And it's cool. I like the way a lot of the things disintegrate. Like they smash their heads into concrete and it crumbles away. It's a lot of Matrix style stuff.
A lot of excellent wire work here.
Yeah.
People getting punched and going flying backwards.
Yeah. And it's good. And I was like, I like that shit. That's fine.
Beating people with tables.
But then somebody comes along. The bald guy comes along and he saves everybody. I'm going, who the hell's that guy? The bald guy.
Yeah, he was like the barman, not the barman, but one of the subordinates under Cyclone. Two knives for some reason.
Well, yeah, but I don't have any clue what, where he came from and why did he have to change?
Sad when he dies later on.
I had no clue.
I don't even know his name.
No, I didn't know his name at all. It's like, have Shin save the day. Have AV save the day. AV is a character because AV has a mask because his face is all scarred. But when he takes it off later on, it's going,
wait a second, why are you wearing a mask?
It's like all his scars are...
couple of little scars.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's hideously disfigured. No,
nothing.
No.
He's
less disfigured than I am, let's be honest.
Yeah. Anyway, so a bald guy jumps in, saves Locke, and it all gets dispersed, and Locke pisses off, and
he gets knifed.
He does get knifed in the stomach, not for the first time.
Yeah, he's in a bad way.
Yeah. So Chow goes to Mr. Big and says, let's
Anything you
kill him.
want, buddy. Anything you want.
Yeah, yeah. So AV says Locke will live. Cyclone is coughing blood though, and then we get into the final. It's Mr. Big enters the walled city, and there's basically lots and lots and lots of fights.
Loads of
And
fights.
the
Mr. Big
problem,
can fight.
Mr. Big can fight. Yeah, the problem is now that our main protagonist can't do shit. And this is the major until the final thing. Locke is lying on a
He's in
fucking
a
cart.
wheelbarrow.
He's in a wheelbarrow. He's in a cart, and he can't do anything. So we're like going, okay.
He's a prop for the next 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's like there's a lot of set pieces where they actually just throw him out of the cart and he really
Flies through.
gets. Yeah,
What I love is that, like, oh, we can't move him, it might hurt him. But they can catapult him.
yeah, dunk. Yeah,
Can't move him, though.
no, he's used a lot, and it's it's set in the alleyways of Kowloon, and it's all very tight and choreographed and neat and tidy. But yeah, so this is when we find out that Laughing Boy has magic powers, and he just doesn't get injured.
Yeah.
They finally.
Shin tries to
onto
knife
that.
him in the back. That's the first time we cop it. And you hear a noise like metal on metal.
I thought he was wearing a chain vest or something.
That's exactly what I was thinking. But no. But then he tries to stab him in the neck. Nothing happens. You're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's weird.
yeah. So it's a bit
That's the first time there's any sort of supernaturally
true.
Like, obviously, some of the fighting is mad over the top, but that's just wire work. That's just
That's fine.
exaggeration. I'm okay with that. This
Yeah.
is the first mystical element.
True,
introduced.
and it comes out of nowhere, and I don't really want it.
It doesn't need it. It doesn't need to be there. It's just so they can extend the movie for another 12 minutes of fighting.
True, yeah, because they would have just screwed.
Oh,
him
you knifed
over.
him. He's dead. Oh, the end.
The end. Walking in the air.
Airplane goes over.
Everything goes over. But so, like, this is a big fight in the alleyways. Cyclone gets killed. Locke gets out. And
Mr. Big
then
gets a sledgehammer to the chest.
Mr. Big gets a sledgehammer, and he's never the same again.
No, well, I wouldn't be either.
No, I wouldn't be either. But then, like, we see a scene where Shin, AV, and I guess his name is 12th Master just face off in a tight alleyway against 20 people, and we see them all just beaten down and go, oh, they're dead. No.
Are they, though? Are they? Even though 12th Master boss Tiger at the end says, they're dead. They're not really.
Yeah. So we get a little bit of just a little bit in between here before it jumps to like 3 months later. We get a little story. Mr. Chow is in the barbers. Laughing Boy is sort of in charge, pretty much.
Yeah, he's coming up with all the ideas.
Yeah, all the landlords are selling, and Mr. Big is looking at Laughing Boy strangely. He kind of knows that.
Yeah, and basically say, Chow, you've no choice. What are you going to do? Oh, you're going to hold out, are you? In the box.
Yeah, they're clearing all the shops. Mr. Big is sick, but Laughing Boy finishes them anyway, so it doesn't really matter if he's sick.
He gets garroted. I actually kind of like this scene.
You like a good garroting?
It's horribly violent and just... of all of the scenes in it, I think this is the darkest one.
Pretty much, yeah. Like, it's because also as well, it reminds me of the garroting scene in Godfather, because he's a chunky boy, and so it takes him a little bit of extra
a bit of garroting.
A little bit of garroting to get rid of him. So then that's the last scene before we have a time jump 3 months later. Locke gets a HKID because he says to the cops, hey, I was born here, yo. So he can stay there.
My dad's Jim.
It's Jim. Yeah, remember him? He's one of the fucking most wanted people until he got killed. All right, so goes to Boss Tiger, and Boss Tiger, as you said, says they're dead, but then
your buddies are dead. Also, they're not.
They're over there.
Yeah,
in this fishing port. There you go. So they have a little bit of a nice night together, being friends, chuckling away, and
Mahjong.
He plays Mahjong, and then Locke builds up Mahjong to be the walled city, and then he leaves, and then they realize he's going there.
Oh, he's going there.
And so we have the final battle. It lasts for probably 10, 15 minutes, and it's just constantly...
It gets crazy. There's AK-47s akimbo, there's motorbikes, there's hammers that he just casted.
Yeah, he was very much a MacGyvering up a little bit, and like
Seems
there
like a
was
lot of work to just make a couple of hammers.
yeah, but like he constantly had it. It was like he was throwing it away, but then the next scene he would have it again. I was like, oh, he's
Is he
magic as well.
Thor?
Yeah, exactly. It felt a little bit like Thor. Yeah, it doesn't like it shows a little bit of a montage of him making these hammers and stuff, but then it doesn't really give us enough payoff. Like we see them being used, but the actual making of them isn't
Yeah, why don't you
that.
just pick up a couple of hammers? It's quicker.
Yeah. Whee. Yeah, so it's a massive fight, and it's all over the
Oh, it's all
roofs of
over
the
the
Walled
place. They're
City
jumping off
place.
walls and they're running on fucking the side of buildings, and
It's entertaining.
it is. It is. It's an interesting visual spectacle.
Yeah, I've got nothing
It
against it.
it's stupid, but I kind of like it for that. You know, they're bouncing all over the place.
yeah,
There
but
are there are as it extends though, it kind of goes on a bit long
yeah,
because the
but
four
because
lads
Laughing Boy,
yeah, they eventually get rid of all the minions, and it's just Laughing Boy, Mr.
yeah,
King, and the four
yes,
lads,
on a
and it's just
roof.
them punching him over and over again.
Yeah, you can't get injured.
Yeah, and he's breaking
And,
legs and stabbing them, and they're like, "Oh, we have to
and
find his
then,
weakness."
yeah, and then you're thinking, okay, what's the weakness going to be? It better be clever.
No,
No.
feed him a knife.
Well, he bit a knife off. He did it quite a few times. He bit a bit of a knife off, and then Locke makes him swallow it, and then it injures him from the inside. And they're going, "Don't let him rip it out."
Because that will give him his power back.
Stupid
I'm
idiot.
impressed that you figured that bit out, lads.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Well done.
well done.
Yeah. Anyway, they finally kill him.
Yeah, they beat the living shit out of him.
Pretty much. They do the fucking rope.
I love that.
They did it a couple of times in the movie, right?
They did
one
it to
time before.
the chap who deserved it.
Oh yes, yes. Oh, that was the callback. Then it all
Yeah.
came full circle. Yeah,
It
yeah.
was the four lads hanging out together, having some fun.
Smash, smash
Yeah,
into concrete. Yeah,
it's good.
yeah. And then Locke lets Chow out of his box because he figured he's not going to kill him now if he lets him out of his box.
2 weeks later, Joe kills
Chow will.
Locke.
I want to fucking kill him. I've been waiting 40 years for this. Couldn't just leave it though. They had to have this romantic sunset scene looking over Kaitak Airport when they're just sitting on the roofs. I didn't actually pay attention to what they were saying though.
Yeah, who cares? It's visually lovely. Airplane didn't need to be there. Or in fact, airplane does need to be there. It just needs to be rendered correctly.
And also, it's way offline. Coming into it's way off. Their runway was on the right hand side. He needs to, they needed to sort that out. Move the render and move.
I wouldn't have copped it was in the wrong location. You ruined the movie for me now.
Sorry, but watch it again and you'll see that it's way off center. Finn, the end. Although I did remember some Cantonese from watching it. The only thing I remember is Mgoy is just thank you. A lot of people go to Hong Kong and say "Xia xia" because they think that's Chinese. It is Chinese for thank you, but that's Mandarin Chinese. They speak Cantonese Chinese in Hong Kong.
Controversial.
So Mgoy Sai, which I'd only use in taxis and
When you're
convenience
buying
stores.
too much alcohol.
Yeah. Okay, I have not rated this yet. So...
I believe this is a tricky one to rate. Because if I want to give an accurate result to plot, it's going to be low, but then it's going to smash the movie a little bit, which probably doesn't deserve to be smashed because the plot's stupid.
Yeah, the plot doesn't really matter what the plot is. Listen, I'm going to give it 2.5. Whatever. That's a very boring score, but I don't think it deserves lower, and it doesn't deserve higher. It's just one of those movies.
So I'm going to give it 2 then.
All right, fair enough.
Because it doesn't deserve lower, I'm giving it 2. The plot kind of... the starting exposition annoyed the crap out of me a little. Well, not crap out of me, but it's irrelevant, it's unnecessary, and the length of the movie is impacted by this, so I'm going to give it 2.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just think it's sort of a trope where this sort of unwanted loner finds a place. and
It's
finds a
very
home
Jean-Claude Van Damme at times.
without the splits.
Without the splits, unfortunately, yeah.
Yeah. Listen, to be honest with you, I'm going to give acting and soundtrack 2.5s each. Just
We're working in the air.
exactly. I'm giving 2.5 all for that. But like when the acting was happening, or the fight scenes were happening, you had this crescendo instrumental, like generic music, but that's fine.
It
It's
worked.
good. Yeah, it worked for that sort of.
It's not like some of the movies we've seen where they've got completely inappropriate music at the wrong times. This is
Yeah,
it's
Catwoman.
appropriate. Apart from We're Working in the Air, I don't know if that's appropriate any time ever.
I don't know why they would use it, because I'm guessing it's not public domain or anything. They would have to pay for that.
Yeah, they would have had that. Yeah, it's an interesting choice.
Make up another guitar solo.
Hey, we're talking about it. Like if it had been something that fit into the background, and you wouldn't notice it, because it jumps out straight away when you hear it. Because your brain's like, I know that. That's weird.
Yeah, I was wondering, because it was a Japanese dude did the music for this movie, so I tried to do a little bit of a search, but there's no real story about it. So anyway, what are you giving acting and soundtrack?
I'll give music. I'm going to give the same actually.
2.5 for all.
I thought the acting was quite. Actually, you know what? I'm going to give 2.75 for the acting. I quite liked it at times. There's hammy moments as well.
There's a lot of hammy moments. I think Locke, the guy who played Locke, is quite good, and I can't get over Cyclone's painted grey hair to make him old.
Yeah, wasn't that part of his acting? That's an interesting production choice.
Yeah. Mr. Big was good.
Yeah,
Mr. Chow was good.
Mr. King is my only complaint. He's a bit overacted.
Laughing boy.
Yeah, too much chuckling.
Yeah, but yeah, that's what you get with a Hong Kong movie. It's going to be overacted. If it says your character laughs all the time, action. Yeah. I'm going to give the production 3.25. I enjoyed the fight scenes, and I enjoyed the representation of Kowloon Walled City.
I'm going to give it 3.75. I love the production in this. I love some of the fight scenes.
Yeah,
and as you said, like you have history in that city, so you have some flavor for some taste of the flavor.
Yeah, I enjoyed seeing like you still see in parts of Hong Kong, especially over in the Kowloon side, you still see alleyways and stuff with just cables going. Oh wow, 5 billion cables going across.
Because one of the predominant features in this is cables bloody everywhere.
Yeah, and also just it's cool. Hong Kong is cool with the signs, different signs. Like I think as first-time visitors to Asia, if you go to Hong Kong first, you're used to seeing signs in Roman letters, if that's right? Yeah, Roman, Latin, whatever. But then when you go there, it's just crazy Chinese characters, and it's amazing to see it in neon, and it's just a pure like different world, basically.
It means absolutely nothing to you. You're trying to read it.
No. I think the only characters I remember is emergency exit, because it looks like a man going like that towards a door. It's quite cool, because the Chinese characters is based. I can't remember what you call it, but it's based on.
It's not hieroglyphics. It's
no, it's like iconographs or something. I can't remember what it means. Like they do like if you look at the symbol for mountain.
It's the thing that it looks like.
Yeah, and the symbol for heart is actually like this little like box shape with 3 spurts coming out of it. And it really is kind of cool. I had this idea when I lived in Hong Kong, because I don't think Hong Kong people would think about this, but I was going to do I and that character HK and just make those t-shirts and just sell those to tourists, because it's not the Western symbol for heart.
Yeah.
You know, it's the
atomically correct
real
symbol.
Yeah, it's the real Chinese character for heart. But I never did, and that's just why I'm still here.
That's why you're not podcasts.
Rich. Exactly. Siddhant Adlaka from Variety gave it 50 out of 100. They said its martial arts spectacle is scattered across a sprawling refugees and triad saga that, while adequately laying foundation for the aforementioned fisticuffs, is seldom coherent or engaging on its own. I understand where you're coming from with that.
Kind of bang on, actually.
Yeah. True that. And then up at the top, Carrie Darling, San Francisco Chronicle gave it 100, while the end result, now directed by Soi Cheang, may not be quite as deliriously over the top as that version might have been. It's nevertheless a solid entry in the ledger of Hong Kong crime sagas, and was a huge hit when released in China earlier this year. Yeah. You gave 100 though.
It's a bit much.
Yeah. All right. We can kick this episode in the chest
Make it swallow a piece of knife.
until
Kick it
we
off the side of the
become
building, yeah.
until we become unimmortal again. If that's a word.
Sure.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, why not?
Okay, episode 112 coming up. Let's roll the dice and see what random movie we get. And we are getting random movie 14,649. And we're getting The Astronaut's Wife from 1999 with Charlize Theron and Johnny Depp. Spencer, an honored astronaut, Depp, and his beautiful school teacher, I don't know why they say beautiful, wife Gillian Theron face an inexplicable terror when Spencer loses total consciousness while on a routine space shuttle mission, returning home just barely alive and a bewildered, changed hero.
That sounds
1999.
awful. I'm not surprised I haven't heard of it.
1 hour, 49 minutes. Metascore of 38, user score of 5.8. Yeah, I've heard of this movie.
They're two good actors.
Yeah, I've heard of this movie, though. I think it's a terrible movie, from what I hear.
Oh, well, okay.
Nobody else in
actually, good. Good. Terrible movie.
Yeah, it's good to get your, get
like giving that a bit
claws into. I don't think anybody else is in it that we know, but whatever. We can dig into that when we get there. All right, that will be episode 112. If you haven't subscribed or liked our show on any of the podcast platforms, please do so now. And we will see you in episode 112 of 15K Plus Random Movie Reviews. Bye.
Ta-ra.